Everyone, please rise and remove your hats for the Austrian national anthem.
It's all the way open. Filter, yeah.
And later we will do 64.
Please remain standing for the Switzerland national anthem.
Good morning and welcome to the final day of the 2019 Women's European Lacrosse Championship as we get set for Austria taking on Switzerland. In the 11th place game, white on white for the Swiss, black on black for Austria. We are underway. Ralph Binarchik alongside Steffi Samaras. Well, two teams that got here via different paths. Here's a shot by Julia Marty. Quick save made by Bianca Bly, one of the top keepers that we have watched here in Netanya, Israel. As Austria will go back the other way. The game that will follow will be Norway and Latvia for 9th place. The Swiss losing yesterday to Norway. And Austria having their hearts broken by a goal by Latvia, as Austria had the goal of finishing in the top 10. Here's Nella Meyer as she darts through and picks up a trip against Marty. And Austria, we can see the disappointment on their body language, the way players reacted to their loss to Latvia, that they were not able to reach their goal. And now to try to bring themselves back up to the level that they were playing at for a nice stretch. But here, Nella Meyer, one of their leaders, starts the scoring with a free position finish against Louisa Moser, and it's 1-0.
And, you know, with Austria, a team that we've talked a lot about this entire event, is there a little bit of air left in their balloon? I think yesterday's game against Latvia, you saw a depleted personnel because they did expect to win that game. So can they rebound, and can the Swiss take that away from them? I think there's going to be a big matchup between Meyer from Austria and Reichner from Swiss in the midfield. And I think that battle is going to be important to this game because they are both the emotional, basically, control of both of their teams.
And particularly Reichner, who came back after missing a game due to a serious slash that required a hospital visit. Since then, she's come back and scored a goal in each game that she has played, as a draw control belongs again to the Austrians. Austria losing 8-7 yesterday after all the emotion that they expended in Monday's big game against Germany, losing 11-8. They had chances to build a lead, but they led 2-0. And Austria, what a moment that could have been, as here is a feed that carries through, and the Austrians will preserve possessions. So that's what they're trying to regroup from. The possession continues with Daniela Zlobel. Zlobel continues and hits the shot. So the nice roll to make it 2-0.
Zlobel's a great finisher for this Austrian team. And, you know, the other thing I want to bring up is going to be a huge thing of consideration today for all of the teams, except for the bronze medal game and the gold medal game. All of these teams have played so much. How much is left in their gas tank? And we saw the tiredness, as you know, we both got here early today, both of these teams. And what do they have left to give?
2-0 for Austria, and both teams were fortunate to get a very light breakfast on the run at their hotels. Swiss coach Julie Duffy saying, you know, they got in there ahead of an 8 a.m. right at 6:05. You have about less than 15 minutes to eat, as here's Stephanie Berger coming up with the draw control off the circle for the Swiss. So that was a little quick, as you try to find a way to generate energy on this final day. Switzerland losing yesterday to Norway 9-3 to put them in this game. And an effort they hope that they would have had a better showing in. Evelyn Eicher feeding, and Salome Baumberger, that's off of her stick, recovered here by Stephanie Berger. So same midfield from yesterday, it looks like, for Coach Julie Duffy, who will go back home to the United States, to Massachusetts, to coach at Merrimack College, but continue to keep tabs with this Swiss program for the future as they continue to build and have a structure in place for off-season work. As Baumberger's shot is off, Eicher has backup. As back behind, Debbie Shorno. 2-0 Austria. They've scored on both of their possessions. And here is An Lee. Bianca Bly in goal for Austria, so she'll finish out, I believe, one of, it might be just 2 goalies that will play every minute.
Yeah.
And make that 3,
Yeah,
or include Marta Rodriguez of Spain. So I think if I add them up between quarters, it's going to be 3 goalies playing every minute here in Netanya. As a ground ball is recovered by Berger, then checked away. Poots, the defender for Austria that's had a solid tournament. Pick up here by Berger. One shot on the possession.
It seems like Poots has got the mark call on Anouk Anders. She seems to be pretty intent on making sure that she doesn't get the ball.
And Norway was able to prevent Anouk Anders from being very involved yesterday after she had several big games. Anders was not able to quarterback things. And that's part of why Switzerland was held to just 3 goals by Norway yesterday. As here is Sarah Hedden. Hedden for Austria. Spent time living in the United States in the Chicago area, in Barrington, Illinois, also in England and through Austria. And sweep across. This is Katarina Parapatic on for the first time, as is Pia Klein. And a second midfield now for Austria coach Mike Perez. Katharina Meislitzer, who after this will go back to the sunshine of Florida. Meislitzer, and start to think about the future. As we get a 3-second, they're going to take some time off, are the Austrians, before into the fall. That's when the Austrian League plays. But the team has already given him some feedback that they really worked on their fitness over the winter and the spring. They really had a heavy last 10 months preparing for this event. Parapatic, as all the teams have to some extent. But they came back in great shape. They saw the difference in their play and how necessary it was too.
It's interesting how fitness can change the game, as we've seen by, I would say, the Austrians and probably the Czech Republic.
Particularly the Czech Republic. As here's a ball into the crease. Klein could not get the shot off. Meislitzer to pull it out and back outside for Pia Klein. They'll go back to the fall and then winter training, and looks like this will be another inspired Austria team for the offseason. Moser made the save. Rebound, Meislitzer. Parapatic was the shooter. Ground ball, another possession for Austria. And of course, games like this, Steffi, I'm sure you've coached in games where it's, it's at the end of a long tournament, a club or high school, at the end of a season, you have nothing left. Regenerating energy is so important, as Meislitzer misses the look. Back up goes to the Austrians.
This is going to be one of those days where I think, for as much as we've talked about momentum and the shift and all that goes with that, this is where adrenaline and momentum can potentially help a team or hurt a team.
And if you can't stop it, if you can't self-generate, as this is a backhand shot attempted by Katharina Bierbacher-Voss that is blocked. Long possession for the Austrians. Parapatic will continue defended by An Lee. Louisa Moser in goal for the Swiss. Parapatic. Lena Kuglic. Lena to the crease. Turned and looked, and Katharina Meislitzer able to pick it up. Then on the cut, and Kuglic, that's denied. Fine save by Moser. Rebound right outside of her crease. The foul will be against Switzerland. So here comes a free position for the Austrians.
Moser's done a really good job with those low shots, and everybody knows I want these attackers to shoot low. But she's able to get her stick down there.
You've sent out that SOS to the tournament. And here, weaving her way through, Bierbacher-Voss denied. And Katharina Bierbacher-Voss has been Austria's leading scorer, and she'll make some strong consideration for the all-tournament team we'll be naming later today. 3 all-tournament teams as Klein was stuffed in front. Claudia Mikula back behind. Bierbacher Voss, after yesterday's 3 goals, 14 goals to pace Austria. And she and Claudia Mikula, founding members of this team 15 years ago. This is a shot, and on the drive, Moser makes the save. Or rather, Meislitzer being one of the founding members, but Bierbacher Voss as well. Mikula, and she's been at this about 13 years, so you can consider her in that same group in the infancy of Austria lacrosse as another tournament about to come and go. And so more steps being taken by the Austrians. They made Germany work really hard, as Austrian coach Mike Perez said that we had chances early in that game to create some more separation. They only got to 2-0. Ground balls were going to be the telltale sign, and especially on the draw circle. And that's where Austria may lament, as running into her own player, Anouk Andres, was Hannah Broker.
I'm really excited to see how this Austrian team progresses over the next 2 years. If they can emulate what they did from a fitness standpoint in this event, maybe sprinkle in a little bit of the stick work that the Czech Republic focused on as they prepared for this event. I mean, they could take this World Championships by storm. Maybe not actually be in contention for the gold medal, but you add in the US, Canada, Australia, Japan, they could potentially knock on the door of the top 10 for the Worlds.
Yeah, it's going to be so competitive because we've seen the bar raised even among the developing countries. How much better they have gotten, even though the results aren't showing it, but the eye test is showing it. There's a backhand shot that's blocked. Bierbacher Voss trying to shovel it, and Moser seeing the ball very well here today. Maybe the lighter breakfast, the sunshine, but Louisa Moser is locked in here.
I think it was the pregame coffee.
Now that is not recommended, I believe.
Yes, it's definitely not recommended, but sometimes a must for an 8 a.m. game.
Moser and out of cage, and she'll get it here to Stephanie Brock. I wonder where the honeymoon is for Stephanie. I know it was not this tournament after just getting married on July the 12th, as the players get back to their everyday lives and remember these moments and times that they spent together. Draw and dump as Bly could not get to it. And a ground ball back behind. That was able to be dug out by Austria's Maria Mauerhofer. Mauerhofer has had her 2-year-old daughter Mia with her. She works in IT. Final 2 minutes. Skip pass that came across. This is Shorno. And we have shooting space called just on the catch. And Mauerhofer, one of a good number of athletes that is here with their children and their spouses. Shorno. Back behind, and the Swiss will look for a great look.
You know, this Swiss offense is a little lost with the fact that they don't have their quarterback in Anouk.
Yeah, she's right now on the outside, but this is Broker, able to roll and take a power step towards cage. Hannah Broker had a 4-goal game earlier this week, and she steps into one to make it 2-1.
And I think Broker can be a power player for the Swiss. She has to just get more comfortable in her role. You know, it's hard for some midfielders to have an offensive role and a defensive role when they're supposed to be the ones running. They think, okay, but my job is to run. And you see a lot of these other midfielders for the more of the Division A teams that can play those roles. They're more of an offensive-minded midfielder or potentially more of a defensive-minded midfielder. And that's just something that needs to be developed on this Swiss team.
Berger, draw control for the Swiss. Final 45 seconds, Bomberger, so a chance to tie. And there's a nice check play made by Judith Steiner. Steiner will moonlight as a music composer. She's put together many lacrosse themed songs, including the post-tournament blues. I wonder what the name of this song will be that Judith puts together, also an associate at a law firm. 2-1 is the score. We are just getting started. Post-tournament blues have not hit us. 11th place game is led by Austria by a goal. Two-one is the start of the second quarter. Sees Austria leading Switzerland 2-1. And jumping in the air, here is On Lee. On Lee speeds forward. Bianca Bly went low to make the save.
That save to her knees. When you make a save like that, you've tracked the ball so well. You know the angle that the ball is going to take on that shot, and she just brings her body down to meet it. This is one of the reasons why I love Bly, and in my opinion, why she's in contention for potentially one of our all-Euro goalies spots.
Yep, there'll be 3 spots on those teams out of the 16. And because of all the timeshares that we've experienced here, I think that gives Bianca Bly just another box that she checks, an uptick towards her candidacy, because to persevere through this tournament, to me, that means something.
I agree.
And we've seen a steady 50-50, 60-40 kind of timeshare virtually across the whole tournament. Meislitzer, as she takes it in and scores. So Katharina Meislitzer. And you love to see her back for the World Championships in Maryland. Meislitzer with her 6th goal. And for Austria, those will be key questions for 2 years from now. Some of their older players, Meislitzer helped found it because she started playing lacrosse during an exchange year in the United States and also did an exchange semester in Cologne, Germany. And several of these Austrian players, as well as the Swiss players such as Salome Bomberger, have founded club teams in their towns or largest city. They are not just players, but they are truly pioneers towards pushing the game forward. and introducing it as Reichener, Julia Marty. Barberger was very instrumental in recruiting Julia Marty off of her ice hockey career, where she was a 3-time Olympian for the Swiss and a bronze medalist at the Sochi Olympics, to find an athlete.
You know, I will say one thing about this Austrian team. They are fighters, but I think going into the World Championships, that's going to be a hard event to play without a backup goalkeeper. Developing a backup goalkeeper for that type of event, I think, is going to be very key.
Kuczynskis, nice play to collect the ground ball. Nella Meyer, now for Austria. And Meyer, bumped by Leila Haller, a captain of this Swiss program. And I can't agree with you more, Steffi, because you just never know. And as we saw with Bly, Austria dodged a real bullet. Bakula, save made inside Luisa Moser. Prior to the opener for Austria against the Czech Republic, Bianca Bly twisted an ankle, and as the story goes, Mike Perez didn't know if he would have her, so they started warming up their backup, 19-year-old midfielder Sophia Schlaugenhafen, in an emergency. This is a shot wide by Janine Reichener. If the ankle is a lot worse, Austria's fate in all the work they put in over the last 10 months would have gone out the window.
Yeah, I mean,
before ever playing.
You have one very specific position for this sport, which is the goalkeeper. And that is something, you know, as a coach, you develop 2 of those, you maybe only develop 1 draw specialist. You know, and you'll see as some of these teams go into the Worlds, teams like Canada, the US, Australia even, they will have probably the 2 big-time goalies and potentially just 1 draw specialist. With a roster of 18, you have to get really specific sometimes.
High pass there out of the reach of Broker. And here is Jacinta Idabelli. Idabelli with a pass to cage, and she was looking for a goal there. And Jacinta early in the tournament looked good before some injuries slowed her down. So the Austrians were fortunate that Bly was okay and has looked healthy ever since recovering. But as Mike Perez said, yeah, we're you know, recruiting is going to be another element to that once they get to the fall. The lifeblood of any nation. The procurement of players. Final minute, first half. As Shorno gathered that ground ball. And another European championship for the championship appearance for the Austrians. More visibility. Their Instagram, of course, continues to pile up all the followers. Another generation of athletes. There's Reichener, shot blocked. Good defending there by the Austrians. And Ziski Putz will go ahead to get it to Meyer.
I just love watching Meyer run with the ball. She's just so fluid.
Here for Klein. Like to thank our sponsors, including Honig's, the official outfitters of the referees here, as well as World Lacrosse and the Olympic Channel. As a pass inside to Pia Klein. There's a loose ball outside the crease. The pickup by Reichener. Reichener is able to grab it. Zlobel, chance maybe for a look. And a foul. So Meyer will have a chance before the half out of free position. Meyer is in. 4-1 Austria.
Meyer is just this do-it-all player for Austria. I'm so excited. One of the other things I wanted to talk about was Meyer and this Austrian team and what they plan to do over the next 2 years. I know that there's normally a tour prior to the World Championships? Who do they choose to play? I think that would be a really big key for this Austrian team and how they prepare going into that.
And these two nations, in terms of lacrosse, are pretty close, as Layla Holler noted to me prior to the game. Of course, they are neighboring countries too, so they get together for tournaments. Proximity helps, as here is Bomberger. Bomberger, and met there by Parapatic. 4-1 late second quarter. Bomberger, Eicher, save made high, Bly.
And you know, she has this non-traditional stance in the cage in that she doesn't ever turn her back to the front of the 8 meters. So if the ball's behind cage, you'll never see Bly turn around. And although I find it to be very different from what I'm used to from a goalkeeping standpoint, it sure does work for her.
Parapatic, she's had a strong shooting percentage. Another player that did not pick up the sport until after college. And nearly by accident, Bianca Bly researching a story about an unknown sport. She works as a journalist, mainly on a foreign desk in Austria. And look at what she found to do as a passion in life. Parapatic, draw and dump. Instead, they go to the outside for Sarah Schlaugenhaufen. Meislitzer. Klein. Throwback, Bierbacher Voss has not been able to shoot in this opening half, so the Swiss have done a good job on her. Austria's leading scorer. Then she drops it in. Meislitzer, met high by Moser.
Oh, the great save by Moser. And again, what's interesting about that, when that ball is dumped into Meislitzer, Moser has to step out to the crease. And Meislitzer needs to have the patience to collect that ball, read where Moser has stepped to be able to put that around her. And that's a very big step for Moser.
Turnover at midfield for the Swiss and a failed clear.
5 minutes remaining in the quarter.
So we're at the 5-minute mark of this opening half. It was 2-1 at the end of one for Austria. Sarah Schlaugenhaufen, Pia Klein. Parapatic, not in any position. Can the Swiss come up with a defensive stand and then sort out their offense at the half? They've had plenty of possessions.
Interesting how long their possessions have been. They've done a very good job of possessing the ball, getting a shot, and I would say most specifically in this game, getting the ball back off of the shot.
Head in at the restraining line. Keeps the ball for Austria. 4 minutes left. Meislitzer as they clear out space, rather for Bierbacher Voss. Berger, she got top side on her and takes it in. Oh, this mistake defensively, and Bierbacher Voss shows her veteran savvy. 5-1.
That underneath roll by Bierbacher Voss, it's been deadly this entire tournament for anybody who can do it. And, you know, I think that might be one of the first times we've mentioned Berger in the defensive end. I want to see her get a little bit of a break and step up in this offensive end and be that offensive power that she is for this Swiss team.
15th of the tournament for Bierbacher Voss. Long possession for Austria. They lead 5-1. Looking to travel back home with a victory. Every team travels back tomorrow at assorted times. As here's Julia Marty. Reichener. Shooting space is the call. As she attacked the feet there of Steiner. So Janine Reichener. And Reichener shooting, and that one stayed out. Follow-up shot, and it's in! Well, something has gotten into Janine Reichener, who has scored all of her goals after her serious injury, 5-2.
Yeah, Reichener, it's almost like, I hate to say this, but it's almost like she needed to take that hit to the face for her to become a force to be reckoned with.
Well, that hurdle that she was able to cross, be fascinating to see what that'll mean for her. And for Janine, 7 total goals, has only been playing since 2015 out of the Olten Saints club. And in her first appearance for Switzerland,
90 seconds remaining in the quarter.
final 1.5 minutes. 5-2 Austria. As this is Claudia Mikula. Adriana Adam, nice ball inside, and Moser has it again.
Moser is stepping up so big.
Perhaps her best half that we've seen from Louisa Moser.
Yeah, and her steps to the crease.
And then this is a ball in transition out of the reach of Vera Pfeiffer. With the ball getting away. By the way, congratulations to Vera as she, the day before flying here to Netanya from home just outside of Zurich, she graduated college in traffic engineering. Pfeiffer, a one-time goalie for the Zurich team and originally a rugby player before finding lacrosse. So here comes Mikula, half minute left. Space for Bierbacher Voss, and Austria looking to punctuate their first half. Mikula. Inside it came, and a ground ball. That was Sophie Giefing inside. A foul on the Swiss. So Sophie Giefing will get a look. Giefing down low and a backhand shot. The youngest member of Austria. It's fitting that Sophia Schlaugenhafen gets a goal here as Austria begins to think about the future, and the 19-year-old is able to connect on an unorthodox shot. That is her 5th of the tournament.
That had to have been seriously hard to track if you're Mosier. She had some defenders that were blocking her view, and Sophia Schlagenhausen does this backhand shot to the opposite post. I don't actually know how she shot that. That's pretty spectacular.
Schlaugenhafen makes it 6-2. 6 different goal scores for Austria. And that's it. So Austria's, so far for a half, they've been able to put yesterday's loss and the disappointment that they won't be in the top 10 behind them, but still something to play for. 11th place They have the lead at the break over the Swiss 6-2. We'll be back in 15 minutes for the third quarter. Third quarter as it's Austria with a 6-2 lead over Switzerland. In the 11th place game to follow, the 9th place game will feature Latvia taking on Norway. That should get going at about 10:20 local time. And in Moser at the crossfield pass. The clear now executed by the Swiss. Salome Bomberger as she fires on the move. And back up here is going to keep it with Austria, or rather with the Swiss. Austria jumped out 2-1 at the end of one, but they've had 5 different goal scorers. Here is Evelyn Eicher. Eicher, Anouk Andres, and stuffed inside. She came in on the sneak to follow Eicher, and Bly able to stand tall again. And the Swiss with some frustrating shooting. Here is Meyer, transitions ahead, and Meyer picks up a free position. Meyer sticks the shot off free position, 7-2, and Nella Meyer with a strong finish to her European Championship. We've seen Meyer around who had grown up in Germany. Family members play lacrosse there too. Might be the first true lacrosse family because her brother, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, partner, father-in-law all play the sport. Broker back in the draw circle again for the Swiss. And Meyer, one of the many midfielders in this tournament that's logged a lot of miles running. Meyer again off the circle.
She is probably in consideration for our Mom of the Tournament as well as our Iron Woman Award, which is basically, we can't believe she's still going.
Yeah, that she's not tired yet. And especially for this 8 a.m. game, we'll also have to consider, you know what, Steffi? We'll have to consider maybe the teams that play maybe, more day games in relation. That's a factor too. Sarah Kuchinskis wheels and fires and beats Moserlo to make it 8-2. There are some teams, such as Spain, who have not played a game that started at night. As a matter of fact, I think they only have one 5:20 game, so everything else is in the 10:20 to 3 p.m. areas. Georgie Hurt joked, I know we're from Spain, but it is still really hot. 8-2 is the score. Water break on the field. Austria has added 2 more in the 11th place game. Out of the water break, it is Austria building its lead now to 6, 8-2 over the Swiss. The winner will capture 11th place. Not what the Austrians wanted. They wanted a top 10 finish. And heartbroken yesterday morning, they lost to the Latvians, blowing a lead and losing 8-7. And here is a foul and a yellow card coming out for the first time today. So On Lee heads off, dangerous check near the head. So Katharina Bierbacher-Voss will have a look from the wing. Our first yellow, 6-on-5 for the next 2 minutes. After the whistle allows the free position. And then Bierbacher-Voss could not squeeze through. Meislitzer has it.
The amount of possessions that Austria has because they come up with the ball after the shot has been probably in the teens.
Yeah, they have not been beaten to any ball that has had to be backed up.
Yeah, and I think that is directly indicative of the score.
Parapatic off the fake, and Katarina is able to beat Moser, and now this one is getting away from the Swiss. Timeout Austria here just a minute after the water break. 9-2 is the lead for the Austrians midway through the third quarter. Draw control, Lena Kuglic. And Kuglic, and it's brought down and finished. Katharina Bierbacher-Voss this time finishes transition for the Austrians. That's the first quick one they've gotten. And Bierbacher-Voss gets her second.
Yeah, she shows so much patience on the doorstep, even giving Moser that extra little stick fake.
And I think Mike Perez just used back-to-back timeouts, which is very unusual. But we'll do the same. 9:52 to go, third quarter, and Austria now up by 8. 10-2 after a pair of timeouts used by the Austrians. And they have yet another ground ball that Sophie Giefing had the opportunity at. And Giefing is the one fouled. Well, Austria has maintained their energy level here on the final day of the tournament, playing under hot conditions at 8 a.m. Everything can be thrown off a little bit. You could always understand a lethargic start when playing a sport this early in the morning after a very long week and a half. But the Austrians have not shown that.
Well, their finishing abilities, and in the first quarter, when they possessed the ball for so long and we're getting so many balls back, I was going to question if they were going to be able to finish well. And they've showed that not only can they finish well, but they can continue to give themselves more and more opportunities by coming up with those first chance shots and getting the ground balls back.
Pass back behind for Debbie Shorno. Poots defending Anouk Andres, looks like close to a face guard as Shorno shot with the left hand. Marty will have the ground ball. Five unanswered by the Austrians, and now falling down is Marty as she accelerated from outside the 15. So they'll put her straight on against Bianca Bly. Marty got a good look, but she tried to go low to high on Bly.
I think Bly read that one really well. But if Marty put that one on Cage, it's still a hard one to track.
Here's Eicher, and feed across, and Bly comes up the interception. You know, as I think about the criteria for choosing first team All-Euros goalie, the thought popped into my head, Steffi, of who has been the hardest goalie to score on.
Ooh.
Right, there's best goalie, that's one way to put it, but who has been the hardest goalie to score on? And that makes me say Bianca Bly's name even more.
I agree.
When we factor that in, and plus that she is not in a timeshare, and she has played meaningful minutes compared to a good chunk of the other goalies that at times have not played a lot of meaningful minutes if they're splitting and playing the second half of a game that is, you know, they're playing with a comfortable lead. That's a different scenario.
Yeah, I think that she has taken away some big-time angles on some shooters, and she's come up with saves that are the normal saves that she should have, but she's also come up with some big-time saves that have shifted momentum in Austria's way.
Feed in front, and it's deflected by a Swiss defender's stick. And it'll come to Luisa Moser. And a nice ball over the top for Reichener. Reichener. The sea parts for her. Janine Reichener beating Bly. 10-3. Janine Reichener, I think, is going to remember her effort at the Euros. She has 2 goals and timeout Switzerland here late in the third quarter. Janine Reichener, yet another finish. We'll take a timeout as the Swiss have ended the 5-goal run by the Austrians. After a series of timeouts and a water break, we're still late in the third quarter, and Stephanie Berger comes up with a draw. The Swiss still have plenty of time, and they have been a good second half team. But they might be facing the top goalie in the tournament. Evelyn Eicher comes across, and the shot never got through. Perhaps Bly again made the save, and here comes Meyer.
Sometimes it looks like she's just jogging and everybody else is sprinting.
She's gliding along.
Gliding, that's a good word, yeah.
Daniela Zlobel. Zlobel, nice pass, and a finish from Kuchinskas. That's fine, over the shoulders is the look there. Kuchinskas had that one set up for her, so to make it 11-3. So Zlobel with her first point of this one, and Austria continues to pour it on.
Good morning.
Latvia just arrived as they get ready to go for the 9th place game, and what an opportunity for them as they take on Norway, a team that they've already faced, lost to 10-7, and that should be a game played to a possession or two where every play matters first quarter through the fourth quarter. Don't expect a lot of runs, but it should be very even where execution and making an extra shot or two could make the difference. Looking forward to that one coming up at 10:20 a.m. local time.
I think that one is huge for Latvia. Do they have the power and the strength and the really just the energy to potentially handle a pretty solid Norway team?
Zlobel, and able to walk in, and that was a sliding mistake. Daniela Zlobel, but a fine lefty midfielder in this tournament. So she is able to snipe that shot, and it's 12-3. And for Zlobel, that is her 12th goal of the tournament. Two more back-to-back for the Austrians, still in the third quarter. Austria scored as many as 17 goals in a victory over Sweden on Saturday. Reichner on the pickup for the Swiss. And that ball is out of the reach of Switzerland. And Hedden will restart. And an unforced turnover by the Swiss.
The unforced errors from the Swiss. It could end up causing a big issue for them.
Marty on the drive, and it just takes the wind out of their sails to try to finish this one out and compete for 4 quarters. Marty right back with the goal. After an Austria turnover, for Marty, that is her third. 2:12 left in the third quarter.
This game has really been about possession and second chances. And Austria, I think the score is pretty accurate with the split of the possession and those second chances.
Bomberger, and with Berger having been knocked down, Salome Bomberger has it for Switzerland.
90 seconds remaining in the quarter.
Final 1.5 of the third. This was a 2-1 game at the end of one as Bomberger fires. Low save made again by Bly as she goes down to a butterfly style. And outlets ahead for Meislitzer. Moser got it ahead to Berger. And the pass for Eicher, that carries through for Bly, who's got it again off the turnover. Final minute. Austria was able to stack up the first 4 of the quarter. Nella Meyer has tallied 3. Parapatic stripped. And Jacinta Idebelli. Berger bottled up. That's out of bounds. And Austria continues to play hard. 10 seconds left. Coach Mike Perez still coaching them up.
I don't think he knows how not to coach them up.
He does not have an off switch. A volunteer coach that is so devoted for now moving into a decade. Perez in his 9th season, he is the longest running head coach of all the teams represented here at the Euros. 12-4 Austria. And they are 15 minutes away from relaxing and taking home 11th place at the European Championships. We're back to finish this one out from the Tanya. Twelve to 4 Austria. Julia Marti. He will get to this ground ball ahead of Sophia Schlaugenhofen. And in the corner, Sophie Giefing will have it for Adriana Adam. And at a reach of Judith Steiner. And Adam will move it along and head it. Has a wide open field in front of her. Giefing. Both goalies will remain in. They're their only goalies. And now looks like on the other end, we do have the true signal of a face guard that Franziska Put is putting on Anouk Andres. Makula, she missed over the top. Andres has been held pointless. I can't remember her carrying the ball today, and Austria has tried to deal with that. And also in the last game, Norway did a very good job too on Andres. So As more information and film was available, save made inside Meislitzer on Louisa Moser. And she stepped in the crease as the last two coaches decided that Andres was that important that she warranted a face guard. That's just about the 5th time only in this tournament as we build towards 59 games played that a face guard has been used.
I actually think they've all been effective, and that is purely the development of these attackers and what they can still do for their teams while they're on the field, and that's happening to them.
Marty. And as the next generation of lacrosse players comes along, we may see teams handling it a bit better, the more experience of it. Eicher, save made again, Bly with the stick, as Eicher tried to go low and away with the shot. And it's a foul against Austria, or rather against the Swiss on the ground ball. So belongs to Bly. So here comes Hedden. And Adam for Sophia Schlaugenhofen. Poots. And has Giefing here. Final day of these European Championships. 59 games will come to an end. It all started, the opening ceremonies, and then Germany taking on Israel in the opening game in Jerusalem at the Kraft Sports Complex, which is a new facility that was built. All the teams were present, and all the teams will be present to watch the third place game and the final tonight. Everybody having their travel plans through Friday. Zlobel shoots on the move. Good location on the shot for her second to make it 13-4.
That was precision shooting. Weak side low as she sweeps across the cage to move the goalie. I feel like Zlobel has gotten better and better and better with each and every game. She's learning more and more and more.
And credit Germany for holding her pointless in that game on Monday. Big factor as Germany was able to separate themselves late in an 11-8 win. Kuchinskas draws against Bomberger. So inadvertent whistle by Caroline Toth, esteemed official. And this will have the ball tossed between Bomberger and Kuchinskas. Kuchinskas able to bat it to herself. Meyer rolls back, fires, adds her fourth. Shooting from the hip. 14-4. It's a spectacular goodbye from Nella Meyer.
And you said shooting from the hip, which is, again, she rolls back and shoots off of that back foot, which is so hard to track because you can't judge the speed. You have no idea, especially with the sidearm shot. You have no idea how to track that. And she does a very good job of putting that on the post.
14-4 the score. We're just laughing because prior to this draw control, Anouk Andres running circles around Bianca Bly with the face guard still on.
And I think having a little bit of fun.
Yeah, even though play is off, even Bianca Bly was chasing her around. As the players know the levity of the situation, it's a 10-goal game. Approaching the middle point of the fourth quarter, should have a water break coming. And there is Salome Baumberger. 14-5.
Baumberger with Meyer on her and then scoring top shelf on Bly. That's, one of the best midfielders in this tournament against one of the best defenders in this tournament. That's a great job.
Salome, as an exchange student, her senior year at Hopkins High School in Minnesota, that's where she learned lacrosse and came back and found the Wettingen team in Austria and has been a mainstay and a workhorse midfielder for the Swiss in this tournament. Six goals for Baumberger. Broker pushed it into the vicinity of Reichener. That's out of reach of Kuz. And Özlem Kuz has got some valuable experience in this tournament after only being named to the roster 2 weeks before leaving for Israel. Andres! And she finally got away from Poots on the face guard. Good pass from up top, 14-6.
Maybe that little playful banter around the crease helped relax that defender off of her so she could get that little sneaky cut. Good finish by Andres.
Goal, Switzerland, number 10, Anouk Andres. 6 minutes and 23 seconds remaining in the game.
For Andres, her team-leading 16th goal of this tournament. Reichener out jumps Parapatic for the draw control. Marty. Marty didn't like her angle. Broker, though, is able to dive through, and this time the 8 meter is going to be opened up for her on a free position. And Broker didn't get the jump she wanted. Good pass inside. Save made by Bly. Point blank, stopping Miriam Muller.
And she made that save with her body. When you can come out and she gets herself really wide in her stance. Oh.
Marty will throw it in. Andres again, stopped high. Point blank shot. Broker continues, and then Broker's able to beat her low. 14-7.
And I think Coach Julie Duffy of the Switzerland team is probably saying to herself, why now? Fourth quarter. This is what the Swiss have been able to do the entire game, but you need to be able to put the entire game together.
They've been a second half team, and they've gotten good looks, but now have finished off 3 straight. Six goals for the Euros for Hannah Broker. Marty. She was fouled. Another possession for the Swiss. So here they go. Reichener shooting. Bly this time reaches out. Well, Bianca Bly, I think we could say this, that she has seen probably the most, or among the most high percentage shots out of any of the goalies. The volume of shots, the degree of difficulty, playing every minute. Crossfield pass, Hedden will track it down. And Hedden's pass trails through, and it'll be picked up defensively by Brock. Moser. And Layla Haller defensively for Switzerland. This is the best energy the Swiss have had on in Moser. Aslam Kuz, she couldn't bring that pass in. Pass away from Meislitzer as some tired legs now start to show in this fourth quarter. As Haller comes ahead.
Yeah, this is when somebody from one of these two teams, or both, depending on who has the ball, needs to just carry, settle, get the ball back behind, move it around. Shorter passes are probably going to be key. You try to throw these long passes and you don't have the energy to get the ball there.
Nice move, Berger. Well, one thing we're going to remember about this tournament, that the flashes of brilliance that Stephanie Berger has shown for Switzerland. That's her 8th goal. And she has her moments where she appears like she is an upper division player, however you would classify it.
I totally agree. For her, I think it's going to be about consistency. You know, if you think about Stephanie Berger, and I don't necessarily want to make the comparison, but just imagine if she has the fitness level of a Nila Meyer. You know, that takes her game to a whole nother level. There's just a different comfort that Meyer has with the ball, but I can see Berger having as she continues to play and just her lacrosse IQ grows.
And I wouldn't be surprised to find out someday Berger could be, let's say, the MVP of the Swiss Lacrosse League. Every player on the roster for Switzerland is involved in that league. First women's team founded in Switzerland in 2007. This has been a journey that began with training 2 times a month with all these players together since December, run by assistant coach Mike Hamer, assistant coach Meg Paul. They're both based in Switzerland. As Meg Paul arrived here a little bit later. She played collegiately at Catholic University. Younger sister Alex Paul just arrived too, has been handling stats. She just concluded her career at one of your old stomping grounds in Quinnipiac.
Gotta love those Quinnipiac Bobcats.
Bierbacher Voss off the double. And that's it. 14-8, Austria. They put yesterday's disappointment behind them, and they do get 11th place, defeating Switzerland by 6. For Austria, a veteran team with a pair of founding members, 3 players that have been with the program for about a decade, and a generation establishing a new bar that has been set. Austria put together a great 8-month plan to prepare for this championship, and they certainly represented themselves quite well, highlighted by the play of Katharina Bierbacher Voss, Nela Meyer in the midfield, Bianca Bly. Well done by Austria.
You know, I've said this before, and I'm so excited to watch this Austrian team progress over the next 2 years, see where they tour as they come into the World Championships. And they still have a lot of growing to do, just like the Swiss do. And there are individual players on both of these teams that can raise the bar for these programs, these countries, continue to give back. And you think of Stephanie Berger and you think of Nella Meyer, Bierbacher Voss for Austria, Broker for the Swiss. They take their game up, the rest of the team will have to take their game up. And I see that happening for both of these teams.
Nella Meyer, 4 goals in her final appearance here at the Euros. Bierbacher Voss, she also added 2.
Austria and Switzerland in their final game. Thank you very much for
Bianca Bly, again, double-figure saves quite easily. Hannah Broker, 2 goals as she paced the Swiss. The Swiss move on under first-year coach Julie Duffy that took over last year for this journey of the European Championships. They will move forward through the Swiss Lacrosse League 2 with some of their veterans and a lot of their young talent that got their feet wet. Up next, 9th place battle. Latvia and Norway meeting for the second time. It was Norway early in the tournament defeating the Latvians by 3, 10-7. Should be a terrific game. We'll talk to you at 10:20 from the Tanya.